I know you clicked on this video because you are struggling to read music. And today I'm going to offer you something you've always been looking for. And guess what? It's not every good boy does fine. If you know what that is, I have a very special trick for you that's going to help you read music way faster and so much easier. And be sure to stay to the end because I will also throw in a second trick, and it's going to be for your left hand notes because we all know the left hand is what we struggle with the most. Am I right? But just in case you didn't know about every good boy does fine, I am going to start there. What I'm about to say is not the special trick, but I did want to bring it up because it can still help you. So let's take a look at the treble clef notes, which are typically played by your right hand. On the treble clef staff, the bottom line is E for every, the second line is G, the third line is B, the fourth line is D, and the fifth line is F. This is a really good trick you can use to help you memorize all of the line notes of the treble clef or the right hand notes. We also have face, which helps you memorize the space notes. There's not a special sentence, it's just face. And that's how we remember the space notes for the right hand. This does not apply to the left hand bass clef, it only applies to the right hand treble clef notes. So like I said, this is not the special trick, but I wanted to bring it up because I do think it's helpful, even though it gets a little bit of hate because maybe it seems like an old school way to learn notes. But my special trick is more about the distance between notes. In music, we call this intervals. So if you just learned every good boy does fine and face, you're going to read music a lot more slowly than you would with the trick I'm about to give you today using intervals. Let's take a look at the sheet music to a song called Million Reasons. This song is by Lady Gaga and it's really pretty. If you haven't heard it, I recommend checking it out. We're just going to look at the treble clef notes or the right hand notes right now. If I just memorized every single note one at a time, I would read the sheet music like this. B, C, 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 E. C, 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 E. Now I have the notes memorized, but if you're a new pianist, it's going to take some time to read it that fast. And even if you are a professional pianist, you really are encouraged to read music with intervals too, because it's going to be way faster. So don't just memorize the notes and think about it the way I just said. We're going to think about intervals now. So instead of thinking B, C, 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 E, what you could think is B to C is just one note. Then C is repeating. Then C to E is the distance of three notes. C to E, 1, 2, 3. By the way, if you're someone who's scrolling around on YouTube trying to learn piano, I recommend checking out my free training. In that free training, I'm going to show you step by step exactly what to learn on the piano in order so that you can accelerate your progress. Check the link in the description to watch the free training on demand. Now back to intervals. Now, what is the trick to reading it like this more quickly? There is a simple way to read the intervals of notes. We just need to pay attention to the lines and the spaces. To explain that, I'm going to show you the C major scale. We call this note middle C. When I'm teaching children, I tell them, memorize middle C because it looks like a cat. It has little whiskers. So whatever works for you is fine. Middle C is the fourth C from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our cat or middle C. C to D is the interval of a second. C to E is a third. C to F is a fourth. C to G is a fifth. C to A is a sixth. C to B is a seventh. And C to C is what we call an octave, or 8 notes apart. And this is where it gets really helpful. Odd numbered intervals are the easiest to see immediately. The reason for that is because they look the same. So C to E are both on a line, and that's a third. C to G are both on a line, and that's a fifth. C to B are both on a line, and that's a seventh. Another example, if we started on D instead of C, D to F is a third. They look the same because they're both on a space. D to A is a fifth, both on a space. D to C is on a space again, and that's a seventh. Even numbered intervals are going to be the opposite of each other. One will be on a space and one will be on a line or vice versa. So for example, C to D is a second. It's a line to a space. C to F is a fourth. It's a line to a space, and so on. So take some notes because I'm going to go through all of the intervals right now if we start on a line note like C. So a second is a line to a space. A third, line to a line. A fourth, line to a space. A fifth, line to a line. a sixth line to a space, a seventh line to a line, and an octave line to a space. Or you can start on D or any other space note, and here's a second, a space to a line, a third, space to a space, a fourth, space to a line, a fifth, space to a space, a sixth, a space to a line, a seventh, a space to a space, and an octave, a space to a line. Now let's look at a million reasons a little bit differently than we did before. Instead of thinking B, C, 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 I'm gonna think, okay, this is one note at the beginning here because we're going from B to C. And B is considered a space note. There's not a line going through it. So that's a second. Then we have the same note. Then this note is a third. It's going from a line to a line. Then we're going down a third from E to C. And then it's repeating again. And up a third. So let's jump to the chorus now because the verse is quite repetitive of what we've already done. So let's go to the part where it says, I bow down to pray. We're going to start on A, and this is where it's really helpful just to memorize those notes when you're starting at the very beginning. So if I thought F-A-C-E, that first pitch is A, so it's good to have a little bit of both here so you can see why A is the first note. Now we're moving downward by just a second. Then we're moving down by a third, up by a third, down by a third, then down by a third again, and up by a third again, down by a fifth. So I could read that really quickly because all of those notes were line notes, so I could tell that they were odd-numbered intervals. So thinking of reading music this way is going to help you read it way faster. And like I said, even professional pianists are encouraged to read music this way. All right, now for our bonus tip, the left hand. Most people struggle with the left hand, so I'm going to show you exactly what to do. If you're just trying to play popular songs that you like, you really don't need to read every single note individually. You really don't. Let's look at the song, What a Wonderful World. Let's take a look at that sheet music. The left hand is looking a little crazy, there's a lot of notes. That seems like a big headache, doesn't it? But you don't have to do it this way. You can just read the chords instead. So if you're a total beginner, make sure that you find sheet music that has chords at the top that looks like this. Or you can search for your favorite songs as a lead sheet, which would look something like this. A lead sheet is only going to have the right hand notes, and then your left hand is going to play the chords. So the trick with the left hand is really to just completely ignore the notes and instead just play the chords. So here's an example of how that would sound with What a Wonderful World. And so on. And the reason I really love lead sheets is because you can improvise and make the song your own. So I could make this song a little bit more interesting like this instead. And so on. So since it was a lead sheet, I could use my left hand to improvise on the chords that they give me. Lead sheets are one way that I teach my students how to play their favorite songs. If you'd like to learn more about how I take my students from zero to playing their favorite songs fast, I recommend watching my free training. Head to the link in the description to watch it on demand. And if this video helped you, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.